Hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl. I'm here with Red Heart Yarns, and today I want to talk to you about measuring your gauge in crochet. We're using the painted wool vest and also the everyday cardigan, and we're going to talk about how to measure your gauge in stitch pattern as well as how to measure it in regular stitches. So let's get started. First of all, I know gauge is something that not everybody likes to measure, and certainly gauge swatches is something that seems like sometimes it takes the fun out of a project, and it really doesn't. It actually is the difference between making a garment that's going to fit and you can wear it over and over again, or a garment that you have to give away after you make it. Gauge is not important in things that you don't have to wear the size on your body, like a scarf, a shawl, a blanket. Those things, if you come close, it really doesn't make a difference. But in a sweater or a hat or something that actually has to fit on the body, if you're off by even a couple of inches, it can be the difference between something fitting and not fitting. So it really is very important. Another thing that I like to do when I'm doing a gauge swatch is to wash my swatch before I measure it. And the reason being is that these are garments that we're going to wear and wash between use, and if water's going to affect the gauge, it's better to know now rather than make your sweater and for it to stretch out like crazy after you wash it the first time. So if you notice here, I've taken and I've actually crocheted 2 swatches of each of my samples just to show you how much it changed after I washed it. And in this one for the painted wool vest, this is the unwashed swatch, and this is the washed one. And it's actually the identical number of stitches, and look at how much different it looks already. And if I measure it with my tape measure, the gauge for this particular pattern was 3 1/4 inches per repeat. And I'm just going to show you that these columns of lace stitch work is 1 repeat. So 3 1/4 inches times 2 would be 6 1/2. And I'll measure this one. This one's 6 1/4, almost 6 1/2. So you might think that after just crocheting this one, okay, I'm ready to go. But this one's been washed. And let's see what this one is. This one's just about 7 inches. That's a huge difference. So my suggestion is if this were to happen to you and you measured it, what you would want to do is jump down a crochet hook size, redo the swatch, wash it, and make sure you get the correct gauge. Otherwise, your sweater is not going to fit you after you start washing it. So that's one thing to remember. Now here's another one. This is for the Anyday cardigan, and this is a much simpler stitch pattern, and we measured this one a little bit differently. You could use your knit check on this one and actually fit the stitches inside here, and you can see that this would be, this one's a pattern where it says to measure in your stitch pattern again. So we're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We're getting 6 stitches per 2 inches, or 3 stitches to the inch, and this one is 3 stitches to the inch, and that's after being washed. So this one actually didn't change a whole lot. It did, was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got 7 in here. So actually after washing, we are reaching the correct gauge. So this is perfect. You would be ready to go to start making your cardigan. One tip I do want to mention is that for each pattern, every pattern written is going to have the gauge swatch written differently. Sometimes they're written in single crochet or all double crochet, or sometimes it'll say in stitch pattern. Make sure to pay attention to that, because there's a huge difference if it's a lace stitch pattern or if it's just a solid block of fabric, how you're going to achieve your gauge. Don't forget to read the pattern closely in the gauge swatch section. Make sure you find out what kind of stitch work you need to use to measure the gauge, because it makes a huge difference in how you're achieving your gauge. The Anyday cardigan and the painted wool vest are both patterns available to download on the website, and we have lots more there too, so come check it out at redheart.com.